And welcome back to the Wicked Wild Podcast, a feral podcast for the uncivilized horror fans. And it is track 2 of Jamie Jam's playlist. And this week we get Born on the Bayou. Before we get into that, I am going to introduce you to our host this evening, starting with Jamie up in New York. How's it going, Jamie?
It's going pretty good.
So as we started the tradition last week, and as our Hatchet tour guide this evening, what kinds of snacks and drink options are you recommending for this river ride?
Oh, shit. We're doing this every week? Oh, God.
Because we know that actually came up in this movie. Snacks are important.
Oh, fuck. Let's see. We're going to New Orleans. When I was in New Orleans, which we will talk about while talking about this movie, there wasn't a lot for me to eat in New Orleans, so it was pretty fucking hard time. But I did get really, really fucking drunk in New Orleans on something called a hand grenade. I think that's what it was called.
Yes. Yep.
It's a drink that's about like this. If anybody's watching, it's like this tall and in a neon green thing. And the alcohol may also be neon green. Who fucking knows? And I also got really drunk on something called a zombie, which was just like a slushy with Everclear in it. This is what we're drinking while watching this movie. What we're eating is nothing. We're doing this on an empty stomach so that we're throwing up like Adam Green is in the opening credits of these movies. That is Adam Green in the opening credits of these movies.
You're not going with milk and cookies?
Fun fact number 1. No, we're not. Or the biscuits and the gravy. We're not doing either of those.
No. And the chicken.
And the chicken.
I figured as a vegetarian, you could at least enjoy a big bag of beignets, right?
Yeah, I guess. I don't even think I got them. It was a really rough time.
What the hell, James?
Depends on how they fry them, Dave.
How dare you? Beignets are the only thing I like at Popeyes.
What?
Yeah,
what?
you heard. You heard me. I said what I said.
Okay.
And then we've also got Jeff El Jefe up in the Burg of Bits. How's it going, Jeff?
Fantastic. Are you guys saying Bengay's like the medication cream?
No, beignet.
Oh, he said Bengay. I was like, who?
I did?
Yeah.
No, I just think
you said it's your favorite thing at Popeyes, and that really threw me off.
I think you just misinterpret my accent.
Maybe that's what it is.
So, Jeff, did you notice the young Sheila origin story weaved into this movie?
You know what? Yeah, I did. I'm not. I'll save it till you come back around to me.
Just tell me you love me more than baby Jesus. That's all.
Yeah. Well, Jesus Christ.
And then we've got John. How's it going, John?
It's going. What's happening?
You feeling it this evening?
Fucking A.
So because we've done some collectible shopping and we've compared notes about collectibles, and we both have a passion for some of that stuff, I got really excited when I saw Dr. Zombie's authentic voodoo shop in NOLA.
I've been there. Sorry.
Oh, have you? So, John, if you and I go down there, what kinds of items are you going to be looking for? Like, what's your shopping list to go into?
Oh, I mean, how can we not get a shrunken head or that wonderful plastic skull cane that he was rocking? That was so. Oh, we'll get into it.
No, those only come from Spirit Halloween, John. You're confused.
So he bought his.
Yeah, he got his at Spirit Halloween.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Not at his shop. His shop was probably just fashioned out of wood from a pallet he found in the back.
You know, the markup on that is tremendous, though.
Oh. Free 99 plus 7,000% and still free.
And then the voice you heard in there with his details about D Zombies Kane was our buddy Elijah up in Pittsburgh. How's it going, Eli?
Hey, you know me, just living the dream one day at a time.
So my one question for you that, you know, I thought of it immediately because it is really the only thing I need to know from you this evening. What movie did you watch this week?
I watched Hatchet too.
Fantastic!
Because I knew what I was getting into, and I held it off as long as possible.
Same.
And I was like, then I was Max. I'm like, oh my God, because I remember the rated R is worse. I'm like, am I going to have to watch that one? And then I was like, oh, I'm going to spend $4 to rent it. And I was like, then I saw Jamie talk about Screambox in the chat. I was like, fuck it. And I signed up for that and directly canceled the membership.
Yeah, you just cancel right after. Yeah, mine's got a reminder to do it like tomorrow.
I refuse to watch a service that has this movie.
Oh my God, Eli. My dog is eating an umbrella.
Well, that you have to call that karma, Jamie. Yeah. Karma.
It's gonna be that kind of night. It looks.
Yeah, I'm definitely Team Mole King tonight, boys.
Well, it sounds like Jamie's got her hands full, and she's not going to mind missing some of this anyway. But it is our time to give our illustrious Mole King his platform to pull out his soapbox for his paranormal investigation weekly update on a little section we call the Wicked Whispers.
You know what? It's crazy, right? It's 2024, and like there is so much shit coming out in the actual news cycle that like. Even I'm starting to feel like I'm getting callous to seeing this stuff. So I'm like, no one cares. That's just how we're all going to die. Got a couple stories for you. First one, last week, a video was leaked from the Ukrainian military fighter jet as they were, in the middle of their war. And they caught an object hovering above a building. The jets were not sure to went to engage it, and then you see this thing move like a UFO. They don't know what it is. We don't know what it is. It was on the news. People were like, this could be a UFO. And you know who gave a shit? No one. No one cared. Todd, a video of a UFO in real time, and not a single person on the planet gave a shit. That's where we're at. Also, it's being reported, and various news sites, that there's these random green laser lights like coming from the sky. First, they thought it was a hoax that people are doing, but now there's like so many of them, and there's like, it just seems like some, like the size of some of them are crazy. No one knows what they are. No one. And like the police stations and reports are like, oh yeah, they told us about it. And they're like, what are you doing? They're like, well, what do we do with green lights? Like, there's nothing we could do about it. But not even the police gives a shit. You got UFOs and now green lights coming from the sky, people. No one gives a shit. Why? Because 2024, the world's on fire, and we're all just sitting here watching it burn.
Yep.
And then when I think, well, surely to God, this can't get any worse.
That's where you're wrong, Eli.
Peru. Good old Peru came out this week.
They're back.
Oh, man.
Not to talk about that poor village that's been fighting for their lives for 2 years. Against, depending on who you believe, either aliens trying to steal, I don't know, or miners and jetpacks trying to steal their minerals. Depending who you listen to. But Peru came out and goes, we know Mexico a couple months ago came out with those alien mummies. Well, we also have some, but they're 4 feet tall and it's quite distinct. They got 3 fingers. We've been working with various universities in the US as well as NASA to make sure this isn't a hoax. We'll be releasing that information in the coming weeks as long as with pictures of the mummy. What? And you know who gave a shit? No one. Not a single person. Nobody gives a fuck. Aliens are basically dragging their nuts across this planet. No one gives a fuck. I don't even know anymore. I just don't know. My brain can't handle it. We're literally, if there's not an alien shitting on TV by the end of this year, I don't even know. I don't even know.
Can we just have the alien on TV not shitting?
I was going to say.
Why does it have to be shitting?
I feel like it's gonna do something really ignorant like that. It's shining green lights in people's cars and like houses and stuff now. Apparently they're not real happy that governments have been keeping their fucking mummies, which makes sense. Fuck, I can understand that.
So these are like West Virginian aliens.
How dare you, sir? How dare you malign the wild and wonderful?
They're looking for those satellites.
How dare you malign the
Can
wild
aliens
and wonderful?
Go to the Golden Corral? Are they allowed there?
You know what? I would take
Only
some
the good
aliens to the
ones.
Golden Corral. I would take an alien to the good one. I would take them to the good one. That's how you're going to find peace. You know what? This is what we need to do. We need to put AI in a body with some taste receptacles, right? And the aliens. I'll take them to the good Golden Corral. Watch me hatch out the world peace plan. All thanks to me. I'll be in the history books.
Jeff, please be there to take photos for all of us.
funny story. I was in Mishawaka, Indiana last week, and our hotel was right beside probably the fanciest Golden Corral I've ever seen in my life.
Did you eat
And
there?
I did. No. I have more respect for myself than that. And the sign said, voted best restaurant in Mishawaka.
Yeah, see?
There
Oh,
was
see?
2 other restaurants.
I was gonna say, what
I'm
size is
I'm just saying.
No,
There-
Mishawaka is pretty big.
Listen, I'm just saying there are good Golden Corrals, and I could do the world peace plan at one of these fine dining establishments with the all you can eat meats and non-meats.
Just give me a ballpark number, Eli. How much longer do you have to work off this debt with this company before you're all paid up?
It's not a debt when it's considered love. You know what I mean? Like you have kids, Dave. Do you keep track of all the money you spend on them? No. Why? Because you love them.
No, I do.
Oh,
keep track
he's
of
got
it.
running tabs.
I've got invoices.
Well,
He's got the receipts, baby.
I don't know how to feel about that, but you know, it is what it is. Golden Corral's like my soulmate. And if I don't get a t-shirt from them for all the free plugs I've given them since we've done this,
T-shirts.
they have
They have
to.
bibs.
Make
Bibs are
me a
universal
t-shirt then.
sizes.
What
All I'm
person
saying-
that works for Golden Corral do you think has asked the company for merch?
All I'm saying is as much free advertising, and all I want is a t-shirt, maybe some gift certificates.
Did they understand what the the reach our show has?
Yeah.
I bet you, I
weight,
guarantee you
Oh.
at least one person a year that we've been recording has eaten at a Golden Corral because of me.
So they would be in the red if they gave you a shirt.
They would break even
I don't think
because
so.
they would get it for wholesale. So they would break even.
Oh,
And
man.
that's love.
Okay.
Well, I looked it up and now I'm angry. Apparently,
There's one, isn't there?
Apparently, Golden Corral is a legit piece of hipster vintage.
No. What?
Ironic.
All
Apparel.
thanks to me.
They all
All
have
I'm-
fancy mustaches and
All I'm saying, right, is that they have those specials every once in a while. Like, you know, I think Toby Keith had a special. God rest his soul. He had a Golden Corral special. Where's the Mole King special? That's all I'm asking.
I think that little bit of research gave me all the explanation I need to why nobody cares about alien invasions or any of that stuff too.
More worried about Golden Corral t-shirts.
Yeah.
Well,
And on that sad news, we're going to move into our movie review for this evening, starting with what we always do, our on the fly synopsis. As you may know, this is a section to where I'm going to ask a question of one of my co-hosts. That's going to detail which of the other co-hosts, including myself possibly, has to give an on the fly synopsis, a quick explanation of the plot of this movie without having any notes or any preparation. And if you remember in Jamie's first movie, Evil Dead 2, it was Eli who got to be my on the fly synopsizer. So he's going to be my my interviewee this evening.
This whole
So
thing
Eli.
keeps getting more and more complicated every time I show up here.
So Eli, Victor Crowley has you trapped, pushed into a corner, reaches back to grab the weapon that he's going to do your creative coup de grace finishing move on you with. What are you praying he doesn't bring into frame to butcher
Okay.
you with? Here's your 4 options: coffee grinder, curling
Okay.
iron, the kid from Antlers, or a piranha.
which one I don't?
You pray he doesn't end you with.
I feel like it had to be a curling iron. There's just a lot of uncomfortable options
We've talked about this,
that he can kill me with a curling iron.
and you know
what I mean?
which option he's going to use.
Yeah, I know, and I don't want that option. So I don't want the curling iron.
Death.
And you should be ashamed for even coming up with that.
Yeah,
Hmm.
it's horrible, and the person that I gave it to should feel really insulted and take it kind of personally, which is me.
Wow. Wow.
That's
I thought it
exactly.
was going to be sexist and be me. And I don't mean that in like I just mean I use a curling iron every
You
single
know
day.
what, Jamie? How come every time this something like this comes up, you think we're going to go the sexist route, right? In the
No,
witch
I
episode, you thought I was going to make you a prostitute. What I make you? A detective. Or the Jack Ripper. I made you a detective.
And more
Just
meant
saying.
like I use it every single
Wow.
day. So I just
The
thought,
only
you
one here
know,
that possibly uses
like
it.
it's curled right now.
Come on.
I mean, if I had one, I would use one every day
I
too,
guess
but I
that was
don't.
obvious. It was too obvious. It was too obvious
Yeah.
for it to be me.
Exactly. So which one? You know who you were then, right?
Wait, what were the other ones again? The kid from Antlers.
A piranha.
Oh, I bet I've been the piranha.
Yeah. So anyway, back to
Anyway,
Hatchet
yeah.
2. Apparently, if you're into this universe, if you're a fan of this, Hatchet 2 picks up literally exactly where Hatchet 1 leaves off, with a young girl struggling in the swamp, being grabbed by a large, monstrous man, very Jason Voorhees. They struggle for a while. She breaks free. She gets loose. She finds solace or sanctuary in an old hunting shack where the man there helps her for a little while, and then realizes because of her name that she must leave immediately. Doesn't give her any more information other than to tell her to go to Dr. Zombie if she wants answers. So she does. Long story short, Dr. Zombie puts a story together or a plan together to go back and recover the bodies, I guess, of this young lady's family and bring them out, only to have our favorite thing happen, which is for chaos to ensue. I think that's all we need to know about
Yep.
Hatchet 2, isn't it?
Yep.
So that's our movie for the evening, the second in the series. And Jamie, because we're in your playlist, I want you to jump off. Tell us about this movie, what it means to you.
All right. So I was a big fan of the first one. So when this one came out, I saw the midnight release of this with Danielle Harris hosting the whole thing. I do not apologize for this movie. Everybody else is going to sit here and tell you guys how bad it is. I think this movie is a movie. We talk about like movies like this a lot. Now, I have a lot of fun with this movie. I should say that right up front. That's why I picked this movie. It's why I picked the second one, because although I like all but 4, and I will not spend time on tonight's recording on why I now accept 4, but there's like just behind the scenes stuff, and it was very cute how he did it and like whatever. And to go on a tangent for a second, because it has to do with this movie, is I want to talk about Adam Green as a director for a moment, because we never really reference him, but we always reference directors like him that love what they do and do it for their audience.
He's a horror fan.
He is a horror fucking fan, and he loves his horror fans. And this movie, this series as a whole, is an example of that. And if you are a fan of this series, if you're in the Hatchet Army, which is what they call their fans, which I am, and it's the story behind the fourth one. The fourth one was a surprise. Like, he literally made it in like a weekend. And he was the event. And now I'm telling you, like, the event was supposed to be like, I think, a screening of Hatchet 1 again. And instead he released a whole new movie to the audience and like surprised them with a Hatchet 4. It's not even called Hatchet 4, but it's like Victor Crowley. I don't remember what it's called. It's really bad, to be honest, 4. But once I heard the whole backstory and it literally was put together by his friends in a weekend and whatever, like very quickly, I let it go. I won't rewatch it, but I'll accept it because of everything behind it. Back to Adam Green for a second. It is evident in things that he does, and I've seen other Adam Green movies, and I like the Hatchets 1, 2, and 3. I picked 2 because I really like 1. I really like 3. But like, to jump to 3 was sillier, and like, I wanted Danielle Harris over the girl from the first one. Now, Danielle Harris is supposed to be the character from the first one, but it changed by 2. So we have Danielle Harris playing the same character, which is probably also why it's twofold. It's supposed to be literally the next day, but it's probably why we get a little bit of the end of the first one reshot, because Danielle Harris has to be in there as the new actress. I find this movie lots of fun, and it's because Adam Green loves horror movies. He loves practical effects. He loves gore, and he loves just doing nonsense. It's, like I said, it's a movie made for horror fans. Now, I know we all are, and people are going to say they don't like it, but what I mean is just like, the movie alone has Danielle Harris, Tony Todd, Kane, Hodder, Lloyd Kaufman in a cameo. It's what's his name? AJ Bowen, whatever. Like, all these people that are just prolific in lots of horror movies, do this for a living. Like they're obviously all part of Adam Green's little crew. I know for a fact Kane Hodder is, and like, cause he's been in other, Adam Green shit. But, there's no plot to this movie. This is one of a Jamie movie because it is simply there for the kills. Now, we will discuss it because we discussed it before we started recording. This movie is out there unrated and rated R. I refuse to watch it rated R because not only did I always ever see it or own it unrated, but like when I was reading the differences, the whole point of this movie is the kills. There is no plot. Dave summed it up. There is literally a Jason Voorhees in the swamp. That is what they call a repeater. He cannot die. At least they define why he cannot die in a way. And he is out there to do the most ridiculous creative kills that come out of Adam Green's brain that he wants to do in a movie, that he wants to do prosthetics for, that he wants to do practical effects for. So that's all this movie exists for. I find it a lot of fun. I had a shit ton of fun seeing it in the middle of the night at the release with other Hatchet fans. I have a shit ton of fun rewatching this movie. When we get to the end of this movie, I just gleefully laugh because it's like the end of it is like, not as much, but similar to the end of like Evil Dead 2013. And I just get that moment of, Danielle Harris coding just bloody. And like, I find it fun. The dialogue is atrocious. It's stupid. The characters are worthless, but guess what? They're all gonna fucking die. Like that's what, like this movie, if you've seen them all, like, I forget the actor's name, but he plays Jason in this. And in the first one, he's his twin brother. He's in 3 and 4. I don't remember how but he's the only one. He's in all of them. And it doesn't make sense. And it doesn't have to fucking make sense because Adam Green doesn't give a shit. It's just fucking funny. Cast, yeah. He's in all 4 of them. Always playing either, I forget if he plays, I think he plays one of the same characters in 3 and 4. I don't. By the time he gets to 4, he's known for living the Victor Crown. He has like a book, and it's like this whole thing. But it's dumb. It's dumb jokes. It's repeated jokes. It's inside jokes. If you see them all, it's just like I don't know. I have a lot of fun with this movie. I don't apologize for putting this on the list because it was my pick, and I wanted to watch something that I knew I would just have fun with. You don't have to think with it. You literally have to sit there, and by the time you're done with it, just make sure you have for Dave what your favorite death was, and that's like about it. Yeah, I mean that's we could talk more about, but I like I said, I think it's evident when you watch this that Adam Green enjoys what he does. He does it for a reason, and he does it with his friends, and I'm always down for that. We've had these conversations about as far as talking about Adam Sandler, Kevin Smith, other horror directors, like. The people that do these things because they just thoroughly enjoy it, like I'm all about them. So,
Yeah, fair
that's
enough.
that.
And, obviously, we obviously had a pre-recording conversation that Jamie's reacting to. I don't think anybody here expects you to apologize. This is your playlist. And I think
I know.
This was a movie that will be a fun conversation either way. And to that point, I'm going to hand off to John and let him tell us, was this your first watch or have you been?
No, it wasn't my first watch.
Okay.
How I was introduced to the Hatchet series is by our lovely co-host, Jamie. She's like, oh, I love Hatchet. When we were talking on Slack one day, I was like, oh yeah, I've never seen those. She's like, oh, it's the best. It's like, I will say she didn't overhype it. She was like modestly hyped on it. And she was excited for me to experience it. I was like, all right, I'll check this out. Like I was going in with a pretty positive attitude. You know me, I'm like cheery, positive type of person all the time.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, all the time. Super, super happy, wonderful, wonderful, cheery person. So I'm like, oh, I'm going to watch this and check. I was excited because Jamie's like a newer friend, nice little shared experience. So I go and I watch the first Hatchet. I'm like, it's pretty rough. I don't know about this. She's like, yeah, the first one's not the best. It's fun. And I was like, okay. She's like, Hatchet 2's better. I'm like, okay. I'll give it a watch. And I gave it a watch. Didn't get any better for me. I felt bad because it was like, because I like Jamie. I like her a lot. She's great. She's great. No, yeah, you don't want to yuck her yum. It's like she loves what she loves, and it's like I want to support that. However, we agree on a lot of things. Hatchet is not one of them.
Y'all can just talk Terrifier and you both.
Terrifier, I am down for all day. Even Terrifier 2, that movie is bloatedly long. However, all the things that, I guess that was the one thing. I'm glad you brought that up, Dave, because the whole time I was like half watching this because I was not going to fully give this my attention today. Sorry. I couldn't. It's just, it was tough the first time. However, the whole time I was like, I'm watching these kills. I'm like, dude, Terrifier is so much better. The kills are so much more interesting. The antagonist is so much more enjoyable to watch because Victor Crowley, I don't want to look at his face. I'm sure he doesn't want to look at his face. It's rough. However, Adam Green, his passion for it, the horror fan, that part of it, I'm sure if I had like a 6-pack in me at like a Bruin View or like a convention, I would have had a ton.
This movie is a party movie. Yeah.
Right. Like a way more fun. But I'm sitting here by myself, sober as a priest on a Monday, because we all know they drink on Sundays. But yeah, no, because I watched it by myself. But if I sat and watched it with Jamie, I'd be a little bit more engaged. I'd be having more fun. But yeah, no, this as our wonderful judge from American Idol, Randy. It's a no for me, dog.
You stole my line. I hope you're happy. I'll never forget
I
it.
didn't even know you had that one coming.
I've said that on so many recordings. I can't even look at you right now. I'm so disgusted.
It shows how much I pay attention to you, as if you own that line.
Yeah, you're owning a line.
I was
That's
gonna say, are you calling
culture.
trespassing on somebody else's?
I am. Sure I am. Yeah. I sure am.
All right, Jeff.
Oh my gosh.
And we've
All
covered
right.
this on some of our other episodes. I know that, this is kind of what I've been looking forward to with you participating in this block party thing that we're doing this year. You've said very openly that you're not a fan of horror and that a lot of it is just so dumb. So I'm really
This
excited.
is the epitome. This is the epitome.
So I watched the movie and I'm sitting there the kind of while I'm watching it, there's a couple things that are crossing my mind. Top of the list is I'm sitting here waiting. Everybody talked about it a lot, Hatchet 2, and Jamie's talked a good bit about it. So I figured, hey, we'll give it an open mind. So I'm sitting there and I'm waiting and I'm waiting and I'm waiting for Victor Crowley to pop up and crush my head because this movie fucking sucks. Like, it is so bad. I was like, first off, I'm like, when did Goonies 2 come out? You know what I mean? And I said it took a turn because that guy was sloth, straight up sloth. Like, I like how you guys' ringing endorsement is you got to be drunk to enjoy this movie.
Ringing endorsement.
What's that?
That's not mine. I've been sober every time.
There was nothing good about this movie. I mean, I understand like it's supposed to be, it's a fun movie, but it could still have a plot that made sense. Are they saying that people that get stomach cancer can now put voodoo curses on people? Is that what I'm to understand?
Yes.
There was no other lead up to why she could put a voodoo curse on.
It's New Orleans.
Rage.
It's the rage, and it's New Orleans.
Well, yeah, it was dumb. So I don't know. I don't know
the whole plot of The Grudge.
If anybody's listening to this, never see this movie. So that's.
Oh my god!
I can save you. What was this? 48 minutes. I don't know how long was it. It felt like
how long? It's an hour and 20 something.
It felt like 4 hours. So. It was so bad.
A quote that Jamie has used in all fairness for other movies that she's hated having to sit through.
No, I get it. Yeah, I respect you like this movie. I don't.
You're not.
It's just like I don't see the point of watching something that like doesn't have even a mildly cohesive plot. Like what? It's not a movie. It's a bunch of nonsense. Like I might as well just watch a bunch of YouTube shorts of people getting killed. You know what I mean? Like.
But it has the same. I don't know. It has the same plot of most 80s slashers. Like there's no reasoning behind Jason once he's unstoppable at all, really, unless it changes every single movie. Like I mean, the plot is there's an unstoppable force that's killing people for revenge. That's the plot of every 80s slasher, basically.
Except this one's bad.
That's fine. I'm just saying it's the same plot.
No, that's just that. I just don't like it. I didn't like it. I didn't think it was funny. There was no comedy. If it was supposed to be funny,
there was one thing that was funny, Jeff.
What's that?
No one is going to murder anybody with a belt sander. Never going to happen. That was hilarious.
That was pretty creative. That was the only one that even like that to me that was something I had never really seen before. Everything else was like everything else was okay. Oh, a boat propeller. Okay, well that's never been done, right? Oh, a hatchet, a chainsaw. Great, you know what I mean?
That was a long chainsaw. I will give
that.
That
was a very long chainsaw.
Those are real. Like, have you guys ever seen those? Those are actual.
No,
that's not like some kind of weird fake over exaggeration. That's an actual chainsaw. That's not something for this movie. That's a real thing. Like,
it's not something you would need in the bayou. That's like a redwood forest of the north.
Yeah, but they're real. Like that size chainsaw is real. It's not because a lot of I was reading some comments and stuff online because after I watched it, I'm like, all right, well, let's see what other people think. Maybe I'm missing the point, you know? And like some stupid idiot's like, oh, that's the biggest chainsaw. It's so funny how big it is. And I'm like, it's a real thing. Like, it's a real fucking, like, read a book for Christ's sake. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
a chainsaw book. Read a chainsaw book.
Or Google it. Like, I don't know.
All right, Eli, come in here and give us your human experience.
Listen, it's a running joke with Jamie how like I don't know if it's a running joke, but like behind the scenes, like I don't like this movie. I don't like any of these. When the first one came out, like everyone said it was like a love letter to horror and like Sam Green, it's all this stuff, and I watched it. I understood what the first one was trying to do. I get it. I didn't like the first one. I mainly because I don't like the looks of Crowley. I don't find him interesting. Like he doesn't look interesting. And I get tired of him just grunting and stamping around. Like it's like watching Wrong Turn if meth was involved. There's no way I can describe him. Like I just never cared for his character, whatever. I get the first one, like I get the kills, the brutality, whatever. This second one, like I probably hate it slightly less than the third one, which I hate the most. But like I don't like this one. I like a lot of people talk about the kills. I find the kills real boring. I first off, where's he hiding this fucking toolbox in the fucking bayou where there's nothing around? Because he's pulling out fucking belt sanders, he's pulling out that fucking obnoxiously large chainsaw, which no one would have in the bayou. Like that's a chainsaw for like reach up in the fucking Pacific Northwest. Like he's got one. He's just got one. And like all the other tools he kept pulling out, which I didn't understand. I also I did not care for like the characters, like Danielle Harrison is like, this was a paycheck. That fucking old man who was supposed to be her uncle, that dude played he's a decrepit old dude throughout the whole fucking film where I'm like, this guy looks like the fucking Saw dude now, too old to be in this movie. And but then, like, he has this moment where I'm supposed to believe he's about to go toe to toe with Victor Crowley. Like, no, you son. Like, what the fuck are we doing? And then I watch him fight the other fucking idiot. Like, it was like WWE. They just kept smashing chairs at each other. And like, I get it's supposed to be comedic effect. It's supposed to be callback to like slashes. But like, it just wasn't. Like, it was like they took it and like they went too extreme on the jokes, but then not extreme enough to kills. There's a lot of blood, but like Terrifier, I think, does a much better version of being like these, like you can see there's little love letter things in horror, but like the kills are actually interesting and like they're extreme. Like how many times I watch him punch somebody in the face till his face blows up, or for some reason this movie he just kept wanting to kill people by the genitals, which I didn't understand. It was funny the first time, but after the third I was like, no, all right. Like I felt like I was watching a 12-year-old be like, hey, you want to watch all these YouTube nut shots? And after I just like, well, nut shots, okay. Victor Crowley somehow looks worse in this one than the other one. His like, and then like to Jeff's point, that whole like weird backstory and it was just nonsensical. I don't like anything in this movie. Like I get people that like it. Like I get what they're saying. Sure, not for me. It's a no for me, dog. Taking it back.
Yeah, take it back.
Somehow the third one is worse, which I don't understand.
I like
how's that
one.
How is that possible?
It's worse. It's worse because you just watch Danielle Harris fucking tied up for 19 hours of the movie, and fucking the other thing with this movie too, is the pacing in this is so weird. Because like, okay, they do the thing, she escapes, whatever. And then it feels like there's 2 hours where she's like, talking to Dr. Zombie, and he's talking to this guy, and they're setting up this plan to talk about this guy, and now they're on a boat, and they're all having a minute on the boat, which no one gives a shit about. And then like finally you get to this point, you're like, it sounds like a wild pig. Nope, just Victor Crowley stomping and murmuring around because he just went and did meth in his wrong turn shack. Not for me. I get it. Hey, Jamie, Trucy's all the way. This is your one.
There was a lot of weird, like, just scenes that didn't have anything
Well, like,
to do with
some of
anything.
the-
Like the very beginning where she's like going to drink out of that thing that you pee in a
Right.
hospital, and then like that guy's watching that videotape for some like
Those are
none
from
of-
the first.
Yeah, I was gonna
so
say,
the thing
yeah.
is,
Well,
like, the thing is, these movies connect literally where all of them, except for the fourth one, connect literally where the last one took off. So those porn stars are from the first one. They all die in the first one. So like those two girls at the end, the one with the hermaphrodite, like they're from the first movie. So
why
it's like
spend time to explain stuff from the first one?
they don't. They're doing it
but
for
still
people
put
who have,
stuff in there that doesn't make any sense to people who have just watched this movie. Like this movie, the identity of this movie is all over. Like it doesn't make any sense. None of it makes any sense. Like, you know, and I didn't watch any of the first one, you know, but like once again, they explained parts of that in the beginning of this. They're like, okay, this is what happened in the first one, right? So you should be able to pick this up and catch up. But then they put stuff that's an inside joke from the first movie that makes this movie somehow dumber than I thought it could possibly be. Like that doesn't make any sense.
Mhm.
To your point, Jamie, about this, what's his name? Jim Green, whoever made this movie.
Adam
Green.
Green.
It's easy
Tom Green.
to enjoy what you do when you're a talentless hack. That's all I have to say.
Oh, I don't think Adam Green is a talentless hack. I've seen his other movies. I don't think.
What's his other movies?
movies?
That's the only one I probably ever
But-
seen it is. So based on this, he's a talentless hack. So.
I don't know. Like there were some of the jokes too they did. Like I don't know. Like, it's not for me. Like I said, I respect you, Jamie.
I didn't
each have
laugh
a movie.
one time. Not one time in this movie. There wasn't anything funny about this movie. Like, I mean, there wasn't.
I'm trying to look. I don't remember what else Adam Green's done.
Frozen,
Frozen.
digging up
Oh,
the
I
marrow.
did
Digging
like
up the marrow.
did like
Mm,
Frozen.
that one I like.
Frozen, like the Disney movie.
Oh, there's a horror movie.
Same title, different movie.
Horror movie, Frozen. Dave,
I did not like Frozen.
Yes.
What'd you think?
Yeah,
What? Tell us your experience, sir.
Okay, I will.
Lines for the sand.
So this was my first time in the Hatchet universe.
Oh, that's
Like,
interesting.
I didn't want
completely?
to tell anybody that. Yeah, this is my first time watching any of the movies. I was aware of them, obviously, because I'm part of the horror community. But I saw when Jamie put it on there, so I was excited to get into it. Now, before I get into my stuff, my friend
my God.
Jamie gave me the insight before this weekend that the only way to watch this was in the unrated. So I'm going to ask each of you, which version of the movie did you watch? Not because
Unrated.
I'm going to judge your value, because obviously your experience is very well documented out there. There are a lot of people who hate this movie. But did you watch the R-rated or unrated version?
Unrated.
unrated.
Yeah, unrated.
R. I get that. I get the dissenting viewpoint.
Okay. So you've seen that one as well. But I made sure I even, I spent the $4 to get to rent to see the unrated version, because Jamie said it's important for this specific movie.
You owe me
And after
$4,
reading
Jamie.
a little stuff, after reading some stuff online, I realized that that's true. That this movie had its only hole in that unrated version. It's that weird situation to where the only reason an R-rated version of this exists is because of Redbox. Redbox wouldn't put it in their machines with an unrated. It even went into distribution unrated because that was the movie that was available. And apparently when they cut it hard. Like, I don't know what the MPAA's beef with Adam Green was, but they were not going to give him anything less than an NC-17 for any cut of this movie that he gave them, which is kind of stupid. This movie is goofy and stupid. We've talked about this before. But for me, in my experience, it pays off with the kills. It pays off some really fun kills. Apparently you have to see the unrated version to get the appreciation for those kills. But I can spend an hour and 20 with an original idea of a movie. Now, Jeff, to the point you made, and we can talk about it here in a minute about the nonsense of all of the inside jokes. Because I was really interested in this, because this is a cult movie. The way I would describe this is, and because I used to live in a city like this, when I lived in Memphis, there were a lot of local bands that you only knew about because you lived in that city, that you loved and you cherished and you celebrated because they were part of the culture of your city. They, like the Dempseys is the one I'm thinking of, which is a rockabilly band there in Memphis, and you'd follow them around and you'd celebrate them, you get hyped about them, and you'd say this was like the local treasure. That's what this movie is to a group of horror fans. Like, this is their local thing. Like, they're really proud of it. They're really excited. They support Adam Green. And I would say and Jamie, you can give me your thoughts on this too. I don't think Adam Green ever had any intent to make any more Hatchet movies than the first one. The only reason Hatchet 2 exists is because the fans demanded it. Like,
I agree. I think so. I mean, and that's to the point of him surprising them with 4. I think he makes all of them because the fans
want it. Because it was fan funded. He said he would only make the second one if he could bring his whole crew back. To your point about the cast and everything, he was only going to do it if he could do it with the same people. But he never had any intent of making 4 of these freaking movies. This was the first one was a movie that he wanted to make because he loved those characters. He loved those actors. It would be like me or Jamie getting to make a movie and ask Kane Hodder to be in our movie. You'd just be flipping out the whole time that Kane Hodder's there. So he's using all of these people that he loves. It's a horror community fan fiction is what this movie is. I mean, he blatantly tells you in the second one, and in the first one, I assume he's got the same attitude. He tells you which movies he's ripping off. Like, he fully references the movies that he's celebrating in his movie. In the dialogue and in the characters that he's throwing into it. But I think the kills are great. I think they're hilarious. The freaking quote unquote love scene, that whole dialogue,
oh my God.
I was laughing so hard the whole time because it was so stupid. And then he went, and won't spoil it for anybody, but just the dialogue while they're going at it in the middle of this freaking swamp with the killer in it, which is the most absurd thing. But yeah, it's absurd in the exact same way it's absurd in Friday the 13th or any of those other movies that do that. And just getting to see Tony Todd chew background, just chew scenery in every scene he's in was fantastic. Because, Tony Todd is sort of like, he's our guy, kind of like King Hodder is. He's our guy in the horror community, and he doesn't get a lot of opportunities outside of stage theater to really go nuts with a character. But something like Dr. Zombie, where the stakes are so low, but he seems to be having a really good time celebrating this horror community. So that's my human experience with it. And I can validate that. I can see why this is important to people. Is it stupid? Yeah, it's stupid. Is it a movie that I'm going to throw on when I need a real deep thinker? No. But if I'm having a bunch of people over that are new to horror or that are trying to kind of cut their teeth on horror, this is a great background watch, because you don't need to watch it until they get to the island, and then people can kind of start shouting and cheering and picking out their best kills and why the hell did he grab a belt sander and laugh and joke about that kind of stuff. It's that kind of movie. We talked about this with Sleepaway Camp. We talked about it with Piranha. It's becoming an ongoing thing. I think the thing that when we're articulating that a movie is a beer and friends movie, I think what we're defining, and y'all help me if I'm wrong in this, what we're defining a movie as being is being a movie that you don't have to engage, that's not going to cause you emotional trauma, but is something that you want to, and Tucker and Dale's very much this movie for me.
No.
A beer and friends movie is a movie that I want to sit down and have a social experience with other people interacting.
Yeah.
With. So.
I mean, I think you summed it up very nicely and in conjunction with what I said, and it just good. And it's Adam Green and I think you are right. And I don't know for a fact. I know for a fact about 4. It's why he created. But yeah, I don't think Adam Green went out there and said, I have this trilogy about Victor Crowley, because you could tell from the plot, he didn't have a trilogy of Victor Crowley.
Right.
He just kept making it up as he goes along, and they just continue from the last one, and he just keeps going with it with the same cast. Like you said, with the same people he likes, whatever. Again, like it means nothing, but at all, but it also, I feel like, means something when you just see like Lloyd Kaufman sitting there. Like, it's just a sign, because he does that when you're like either when you come from trauma or when you've been with him for like, you know what I mean? Like, there's a reason he's just sitting in that scene and doesn't say a word and doesn't do anything, but like, he's there. It's because
he's there to
it's the
appreciate
community.
It's
It's like, it's the horror community recognizing the horror, and like, I don't know, maybe Adam Green did pass through trauma. Someone correct me if I'm wrong. Like, I have no idea. But like,
it wouldn't surprise me just for
it wouldn't surprise me at all. But it's just not one of those facts that I knew.
I
I know it about, I just don't know. But, and also like the scene you referenced with them having sex is like the dumbest fucking thing. It is the dumbest thing. But also and his name is AJ Bowen, right? He's in all horror too. And I think, doesn't he even produce, direct, write, whatever? Like, I wouldn't even be surprised if he made that whole scene up himself. You know what I mean? Like, or the stupid dialogue about loving me more than God or whatever she said, like all that dumb shit. And he's just like equal amounts or whatever he's saying. Like,
as soon as you're introduced to that character at the big gathering, it's this attractive woman in this group of rednecks. And you're like, oh, I know the part that she plays in this movie. You know exactly why she's there. So I do have a couple of questions, but I do want to hand off to Jamie first. What do you want to talk about? Because I've got some stuff.
I mean, obviously the deaths, no matter how dumb people can say there are all different ones. Even if it's just you and I highlighting them, I don't care. But there's like, as much as we could say a lot of them been done before, of course they've been fucking done before. But literally I ran out of room writing the amount of different ones there were. I know like Eli said they were so similar. There's not, because I didn't write the same ones if they were similar. No, they're really not. And because I can list them all to you, and there's at least 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 that are just different. And even when they do that quick montage of him just killing people so there's like a jaw ripping off, which is one of my favorite scenes. Is like, and that's one of the things that's cut in the R-rated.
The face slice.
Yeah, the face slice off, like literally the bicep, whatever. So it's like, there's a ton of kills, and they're all the curb stomp. Like, that's not done twice in this movie. Like, fucking, it's just like, and it's just like, and across the table, like, yeah, okay, he goes up people's genitals twice or whatever, but one's with a chainsaw and one is with a hatchet to her fucking vagina while they're having sex or whatever. Like, it's just like, and it's fucking funny both times. I don't give a shit. Yeah. So like, I don't know. The whole point, like you said, Dave, and the whole reason I said about the unrated is because if you take or even edit the deaths in this movie, there is no reason to watch it, because that's the whole fun of this movie.
The story is not what you think.
There is no story. Yeah, I don't need to hear the plot and revenge plot of Victor Crowley. I don't give two shits. It's the same as every other repeater. Now I'm just going to use that term for all of these killers.
I don't mean the same, like when I say like the same kills every movie, like to me across the films, they're not much different, but like even this one, it's either a power tool kill, right? Or he's just ripping limbs off. And like, I mean, like that one where he pulled Todd's spine out, like
that one is good. Come on.
That one's not bad. I didn't mind that one.
Funny.
But like, it's like, if you're in my mind, right? If you're doing a movie like this, where like Terrifier is something that does a really good job. It's like plot, like the first Terrifier, there's really not much of a plot.
No, there's no plot. No.
But every kill is just so extreme and crazy, and like that's what you're going for, right? Or like I know you kind of compare it to Tucker and Dale, but like Tucker and Dale has like a funny plot, and like it's actually like it's funny, and like it's like smart dumb funny, which is what I really like about like the timing in that movie is great. Mm-hmm. Whereas like this, you don't have much of a plot, and you're just doing like basically like slapsticky stuff, right? But
it's
now
like
like
low hanging fruit. It's like. That's what it feels like to me. It feels like the lowest hanging comedy fruit you could possibly.
And then like, but the kills don't go super extreme enough. So like, then like that's where I'm like, okay, well, it's like all the same ballpark. Mm-hmm. Like that's what I meant.
It's like
clarify.
it's like the slapstick of murder movies. Like,
Yeah.
fucking, you know,
Yeah.
it's like, this,
Yeah,
is like
yeah.
this is the Jerry Lewis fell down of fucking horror movies. Like, it's bad. There's no redeeming points in it.
Now we'll say this: not Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey bad.
I won't even watch that. Yeah,
That's bad.
no, I won't even watch that. Won't even touch that.
Yeah, I just wanted to clarify my point on that when I said that. Like, it's for what it's trying to do. I don't think, in my mind, just my opinion, it with the kills, it just doesn't. It's like
when did this movie come out?
2010.
2010. The first was 2006.
So once again, this feels like a shitty 80s movie that wasn't funny now. Like,
Well,
it's a
that's what
movie
he's
you would,
referencing. Yeah.
a not funny movie. Well, he did a great job at that then. 'Cause
No,
this isn't
80s
funny at all.
movies.
But I'm saying, like, it feels like a movie that was made in the 80s that was cool then, but it doesn't fit in modern times because it's aged poorly. That's what this movie feels like to me.
Okay.
I don't feel that way.
What about you, John?
I mean,
kick the mix.
It's a movie. People watch it. Yeah, I'm kind of in line with you. I think for me, if you're going to do like an homage to the 80s, I think you can. The kills, sure, but I don't know. There's just something that feels like hollow to me when I watched it. It's just I know what you're going for, but it doesn't have. I didn't get the heart. Like from the 80s, we some of the 80s stuff is so cheesy and over the top, but it was just there's something to it, and I can't really explain it.
Funny because that's the opposite with me. I'm arguing, but not arguing. Like to me, it's the opposite. Like to me, the heart is all there because it's made for horror fans. Like, and it's made with horror characters that we are all going to see at the convention. Well, maybe not all of them, but like I have pictures of Kane Hodder standing next to Danielle Harris at as many as I can get at a horror convention because I think it's the cutest thing. A, because he's way taller than her and it looks adorable, and like because they're from Hatchet and other things. But like anytime they're saying that, I get like this giddy and like so like. I guess what I'm saying is like, I'm the opposite. Like all I see is love in this movie. Like all I see are friends doing something together that like they all love and like the heart is there and like the thing. So it's just a different, and I get, I'm arguing, but not arguing. What I'm saying is it's funny because it's two totally different. And I think that's why I love this series is because it's always felt like that. To Dave's point, he only agreed to do 2 with his crew. And that was everybody. That was production. That was cameras. That was everybody, writer, and it's like you feel that through the whole thing. The fourth one, not so much. But again, when you get the backstory to the fourth one, and it still has, I mean, don't get me wrong. It's got, what's her fate? Why is my brain not? But it's like, still got horror genre people in it. It's just a different cast. Like, because besides Jason from this one, no one repeats in 4, and Victor Crowley. It's got a new cast. But like, well,
like you said, he threw that together last minute for.
It was a weekend, I think. Yeah. I literally think he shot it. If I remember, and now the thing is, the reason why. So I watched it as soon as it came out. Because I am a Hatchet fan, did not like it, but I got all the backstory. Joe Bob did it on one of the episodes, and he had almost the whole cast on. He had Adam Green. It was such a nice way to watch it, and kind of to. John's point of if watching it with me would have been a different, like watching it on Joe Bob, which also is so in the horror community and a genre fan and Darcy and whatever. And like having that whole cast on and hearing the whole backstory on why he did it and how he did it. And like getting these people involved last minute and literally just calling them up and being like, can you come film this so we could do a 4th? It's just like, it adds that whole element of like the movie blows. Don't get me wrong. The 4th one is it's all filmed like in a fucking plane because they had they had a weekend and no budget. And it's like, it is a single set fucking shot movie. It's rough.
It was literally for this one audience that he was going to present to.
It's for the people who were going to see the first one again or whatever it's going to be, which would have been me if it was whatever town and wherever it was. But like, and that's something to appreciate. And I'm not saying like that. What I'm saying is that feeling to me is in all of them because like, it's just like that's what these movies are. They're not made for, it got a very limited distribution. If that, like I said, I saw the second one at midnight and I saw the third one in theaters, but like it's also because I live in New York, I'm trying to say, I don't mean it like that, but it's like, it was in a Lower East Side theater for like 2 days or whatever it was, limited distribution. And I saw the third one in theaters. The fourth one, I don't even know that I got it. Because that was a surprise. That didn't even get a distribution or whatever. But
so to the point you made, Jeff, earlier about the it having 80s iteration but not having any of the fun or any things. I mean, obviously that's personal taste. Obviously, I think it does the 80s, but I don't think it's doing the 80s the way Piranha 3D did it. I think Piranha 3D did it as a referential celebration of the goofiness and stupidity of it, where I think this is specifically talking about how stupid the jokes are and how insipidly ignorant the characters, the victims are going to be, how terrible the dialogue's going to be. I genuinely felt like, I don't think he was doing that because he was a more skilled director. I think he was doing that because he was a limited, raw, rough hewn director, but he was okay with that because so were those other people that he kind of loves from the 80s horror movies. So I don't think he was doing something highbrow dissection of 80s horror. I think the comedy falls flat for you in a lot of cases because it's dumb comedy. It is slapstick. It is the lowest level of comedy. You're right. But so were all of those other things that he's sort of iterating, like prom night and those kind of things that he's probably referencing in this movie. But unlike Piranha 3D, I don't think it's coming from a skilled Alexander Aha director and writer. It's coming from a guy who just loves those movies, and he's being given permission to make this thing for a small audience to do that with. So yeah, I'm agreeing with you, but saying, yeah, that's sort of, he went into that being aware that that's the kind of movie he was making.
It's funny, Dave, as you're talking about that, I think it kind of, what it comes across for me and how I saw it, similar to the way you described it, is to me, this felt more like kind of like our Sharknado trend that happened, where it feels so intentionally like cheesy that it doesn't have the like kind of like the earnest attempts that like the 80s movies, like they thought they were making good movies earnestly.
Yeah.
Where this is like intentionally schlocky to be schlocky, and it comes across as almost disingenuous.
Pretentious
to me. Yeah.
What do you think's pretentious about what he's doing? I don't think he's
no, to like John's point, where the folks that were making those movies in the 80s, they were working with what they had, right? You know what I mean? And a lot of that stuff, to me, still is somewhat genuine, right? But to what you're saying is he's intentionally making a bad movie, right? It's almost insulting to the people that thought they were doing a good job or that gave a real effort to something in the 80s.
Yeah, my point was not that he was intentionally making a bad movie. He was making.
Well, I'm just saying that's how it comes across to me. Like it's like when you look at the stuff that he did in this movie, it was like a zero effort. Like I don't understand I don't understand the point of like making a movie and just not even trying to like have a plot or anything. Like what's the point of making a movie like that? There's, you know what I mean? Like to me, that is what a movie is, right? This is, you could literally just take and put the kill scenes if that's what you're looking for. What's the point? You know what I mean? Like that to me, that doesn't make any sense. That seems silly. Like, you know what I mean?
Well, from what I observed, and again, it's personal preference, but when I'm watching Tony Todd or Kane Hodder, Kane Hodder is a stunt man, he doesn't get a lot of acting gigs. This is his biggest acting credit in his career, but he's giving it his best effort. Like he's tearing up. I mean, that's one of the notes I made. Everybody in this movie cries at some point just to prove.
Yeah, there's a lot of crying
of tears in this
for
movie.
A dumb horror movie.
But when I see Tony Todd or Kane Hodder or any of these bit actors, they are giving 100% effort. So I don't think that there's anybody here that's being disingenuous. I think that they are C-level actors, no offense, because I love them all, who were given the opportunity to be leads. Like these are not people who have ever gotten to be leads other than behind literally a hockey mask and being in the middle of a movie like that. But they're giving their best effort for what they can do.
It's also important to note, and I'm going to call it to your point with the C level, and it's a C level movie. And I mean that it's an A level to me. But what I mean is this is not made for distribution. The first one is not made to be a wide release major movie production. It is made by someone who likes horror movies for whatever minimal budget he made it for. And I think it's important to note, because as we judge different movies and we talk about what they create, you know what I mean? Like, it's not like to the point of the cast of them all being genre actors and whatever. And I'm not, again, we love a lot of them. I'm not saying all of them, but like, it's not made to, no offense to Danielle Harris, but she's never going to be cast in a Universal Pictures movie as a leading actress. She is going to be in a independent horror movie, C-level movie as a lead actress, because she is what they call a scream queen. She is our modern scream queen, one of our modern scream queens. She even has a whole podcast about like type, but like, you will see her at every horror convention, because this is, and Felissa Rose, that's the one in the fourth one, talking about scream queens who are still making their money on genre act, whatever. She's in the fourth one. Sorry, side note. But like, that's to a bigger degree. That's going to be Danielle Harris someday showing up in Hatchet 18, because let's hope that's not it. And I like Danielle Harris, but is she I'm so sorry, Danielle Harris, but she's not winning any Academy Awards here.
No.
I think
apparently
she's adorable.
You do not remember her days on Roseanne. So.
I remember here in Don't Tell Mom the Babysitters.
No, yeah, fresh. That.
But to your point,
she's a fucking lot as a child.
Horror convention.
She's at every horror convention, and she is actually, from being a child actor, she is in a fucking lot. And I'm not just saying Halloween, because she is in the originals and the Rob Zombie ones. She is in a fucking lot. Yes, are they all horror? Almost everything, but as a child actor, because like Don't Tell Mom the Babysitter's Dead and like things like that. You just see Danielle Harris pop up, and you're like, oh shit.
Mm-hmm.
Especially like as a kid. But yes, I think like that it's like this movie wasn't made to be like a master. Like,
well, I can't help myself.
Well, and let me ask you.
I get it. Like I said, it's definitely not.
It's not for you.
For me. Yeah.
Yeah, it's fine. I've watched a lot of shit on this podcast. That's not for me.
Exactly.
You know what I think? Maybe like, because trust me, like there's some dumb horror movies out there that I enjoy. I think my problem with this is like I get what he was trying to do, but the problem is like, even if you're gonna do something like this and make this kind of homage or whatever, they kind of broke the golden slash rule. Like his slasher wasn't interesting. Like he didn't look interesting. He was just, like I said, he was just a guy with a fucked up face and overalls. Like you know what I mean? Like there was nothing interesting about him in terms of how he looked or really what he was doing.
Jason Voorhees.
Yeah, he is just Jason with no mask.
No, like Jason had like the look, like with the mask.
What is his
and, like,
big character arc?
No, I don't mean character, but like Jason was a guy who walked around the woods, terrorized summer camps in a hockey mask, right? And like he was just like going after these camps. This is just some fucking weirdo with a fucked up face in a swamp. Like he didn't. Why I say interesting? I'm not saying like character, but I mean looking interesting, right? Or like doing it. Like he just did the same shit, and he was a guy in overalls, and like it's not even like. And I get like it was low budget still, but like it didn't look good. Like those things. I wanted to pop those things on his shoulders, which I'm assuming were supposed to be the tumors he was born with. I wanted to pop those like giant pimples. He looked more interesting as the kid because I was kind of getting like Pumpkinhead vibes. When he was like a kid. Yeah. Like, yeah, when they were showing like the younger version of him, but like the older version of him was just not great. It looked like if Danny DeVito was 7 feet tall and had a split in his face. Like, didn't do it for me.
That's fine. I'm not even arguing like it not doing it. I think I'm just gonna keep praising like the horror. Like I think even in 3, which I haven't watched in a little bit, one thing I always so this is again an example of everything Dave and I are talking about or who he's made these movies for. Like in 3, he literally has Jason fighting Jason. And you only know that if you're in the horror community. And what I mean is it has fucking
Kane Hodder.
Kane Hodder fighting fucking, what's his name? Derek Mears, who also plays Jason. So now the whole thing is like, that is just an in-genre joke, is that you have fucking Jason taking on Jason. Yeah. It has nothing to do with Victor Crowley or whatever Derek Mears is playing, which I think is like an army guy or a cop or fucking something. I don't know what he is, because who cares? Like a SWAT member or whatever. The point is, like, as soon as it happens, you're just like, oh, it's fucking Jason fighting Jason. It also has a guest appearance by Sid Haig. Like, again, it's just like grabbing everybody he can who he's like friends with or is in the, you know,
Robert Englund like, was in the first one for the same thing.
Yeah, that's right. Robert, yeah, it's like, so it's just like the Jason fighting Jason thing to me is like another example of just like who he made these movies for and why he made these movies. And you don't have to like, I'm just providing to people listening, like why these are made. And yes, it's not everybody in the horror community, but I'm just saying that's who it made for, is people in the horror community who did it's like, it's not going to go over with an average. It's just not going to go over even outside of the horror. It's not even, obviously it's divisive in the horror community. It's definitely not going to be a favorite or of people outside the horror community, right? Because there's so many inside little things like that like, and you don't have to get this Jason versus Jason. I'm just saying though, it's just an example of like what he does in these is like, because he needed Jason to fight Jason.
Yeah. Well, and to this one particularly, I think it's interesting to me as I looked at it afterwards, because we and nobody is ever going to find this because we never released it, but we actually reviewed Adam Green's big distribution movie Frozen for the podcast. Never released it because we were kind of all over the place. I think Jamie was one of the one that hated that movie.
No, I wasn't on it. I've still never seen it.
But
like the one Adam Green I haven't watched.
Yeah, that was his big break. Like that was a distribution movie by a big studio with real actors, real effects. It came out in February of 2010 to really mixed reviews. And I think it kind of deflated him. And that is when literally the horror community gathered around him and said, make another Hatchet. We loved Hatchet. Like literally Hatchet 2 came out of his failure with Frozen. Like Frozen didn't do what expected. Now in the months following that, Frozen made its money back by a long time. I mean, it covered its budget. It made good money, millions of dollars. So it was fine. But to me, I can always back when a community comes around one of their people that's kind of taking it on the chin. And giving them the opportunity and kind of pushing them to go back and do something that they love, just even if it was just for them, just for a house party. And I think that's kind of what this movie is. And I am totally okay letting it exist in that place and not expecting that it needs to rise to the occasion of being a highly distributed horror movie for everyone. This movie's never going to be that. It's not, and honestly, let me be completely transparent in completing my thoughts on this movie. This is not a franchise that I'm going to need to watch every year. But if it's on for a party, or like I said, if I'm throwing a party, this is the kind of movie I want to present to him, because there's going to be questions and people are going to say, what the hell? What am I watching? Is that Kane Hodder? Holy shit. Is that Robert Englund? And having those conversations while this movie's happening is the whole point of what this movie's about, in my opinion. But I don't think it's for everybody. And I don't think it's trying to be for everybody. It's like, and to Jamie's point, or something we know about Jamie, her favorite band is Coheed and Cambria. They are never going to be a mainstream success. They're never going to do the Taylor Swift tour. But why do you love them?
What?
They were a mainstream success. What are you talking about? Coheed and Cambria was big for a while. Like they were real big for a while.
Well, I mean,
stadium tours. Like
I mean, very few
people.
Until I met Jamie,
they were a big band for a while.
They're not giant stadium.
Well, I mean, they're not
giant stadium.
They're not a lot of people are Taylor Swift. But I'm just saying, like Coheed and Cambria was a pretty big band.
But my point is that's not the reason that Jamie celebrates them. And what makes that band great, correct me if I'm wrong, Jamie, is that they know who they are and they're not trying to be the commercial thing. They
Yeah, I
want to
mean,
make the art form that they love.
Yeah, and they're it's a good example of like them doing all their shit is connected and storyline. And if you jump, it's like a very like similar kind of feel of like being in. And I don't mean like it excludes anybody, but like once you're in on the like their fans are fucking weirdos, and I put myself in that. But like if you talk to some of these people at some of their shows, like
it's all referential.
It's insane. Yeah, it's insane. But like Dave, as you were saying that, I wanted to actually ask you a question as someone who just saw it. In watching this, because I know you only like you didn't watch any of the other ones yet, but do you plan on diving into at least 1 or 3?
I did what Dave does. I did sort of the internet research.
Okay, to see what
look at the critics that I value their opinion who have watched it. I will definitely go back and watch the first one.
To see, yeah.
And I'll probably watch the third one. I don't know that I need to see Victor Crowley.
You don't. No.
Because
no one needs to see that.
What I want to do at some point, and I don't know if I'll ever do this, to just be totally transparent. I'd love to do what people have said and do the super cut where you cut out the openers and credits for each movie and just jam them together. Because
and just watch them
apparently it's one story. Like it
is. I mean, it is. Yeah.
So that would be fun when I have 6 hours
to watch them in a row.
Probably only 4 hours.
I'll warn you now that third one feels like 11. So,
but intentionally, I will watch the first one. I do have, and I think it's available on Shudder or something. So
it might be. I know the third one is on Peacock because what happened was they all were on Peacock like last time I checked. Because I did watch the second one fairly recently, like going to bed. Like I was just like, I need background and comfort movies. And this is like one of them. But like it was on Peacock. And then by the time we did it, it was not on Peacock. So like we had to go find it. But 3 is still there for some reason. So whatever rights they have to 3 right now, it's like still there. But I didn't look at where 1 and I don't care where 4 is. 4 might also actually still be on Peacock, but I didn't even check because I don't care.
Yeah.
But like, yeah.
Because it is, from what I understand, Victor Crowley is really just an epilogue to the main story.
Yeah, it's like, I don't remember how many years later. And like, it's just like
But yeah, I do want to see the first one at least because I miss getting to see a lot of the setup for, like I said, getting to see Robert Englund do what Tony Todd's doing in this one of just chewing scenery, which the
first one has
it has Josh from Blair Witch.
The dude. Oh, it also has the guy from Grandma's Boy, the robot. I love him and everything
really?
he's like in. Yeah, he's the lead of 1.
I'll be honest, like the first one does a much better job of what I think he's trying to do in the second one.
Which part? What do you mean? What part? Like what?
Like I think the first one does a much better job being an homage film and like.
Oh, got it.
I think the kills are a little bit more interesting in the first one. I still don't like Victor Crowley. And like the other problem with the first one I have is they're just moving a lot through the same 3 swamp backgrounds. So it's like, it was like watching a 3 Stooge movie and you're trying to figure out like, I don't even know where they're fucking running.
That's the kind of stuff I dig though.
You'll probably like I don't know. You'll probably like the first one better. But I mean, if I was forced in hell to watch one of these movies, I would choose the first one.
I don't know. I can get behind the lo-fi of a indie movie. I mean, we've talked about this with other movies,
right? Like the first one, like I said, first one's a little bit like I get that film more. This one felt like I was watching Looney Tunes if someone bad wrote it.
Had to have Danielle Harris and her eyebrow.
Oh, God.
I just had to.
I wasn't going to mention the eyebrow, but
it's a known thing, and she's
like I was just trying to
has like some weird. It's like a thing where one of her eyebrows like always arched, like it's like she can't like it's like a thing, and I don't remember if by now it's been fixed or not.
You know what? It's a shame.
It's a thing.
Her southern accent is a shame.
My God,
what's a shame? Her southern accent.
If you remember her, like in Roseanne as a kid, it changed 11 times in 4 episodes when she was trying to cheat with David.
I didn't.
But anyways, what my problem is I love Danielle Harris, love her, loved her in Roseanne, had a crush on her, loved her in a bunch of other stuff. I loved her not only in Halloween 4 and 5. I love her Rob Zombies.
Rob
always.
Zombies. Yeah, I mean,
And then this came out, and I was like, "You broke my heart, and now you're dead to me."
she's in like a lot of shit besides this. She's in like everything she pops up in. Like,
Nothing has offended my good sense and nature
Okay.
as much as this.
Okay.
It was offensive to my good taste.
Out
I was
of
gonna
the mole
say-
kingdom already.
then
First you ever got
if I don't know if you guys will be good sports and contribute anyway to favorite kill, but Dave at least will. So I'm gonna start for funsies because I
'cause this is
decided
your
I
show.
am. So I was torn between a few, but because I picked this one for this like reason. I don't mean the reason of this kill, but when I explain, you'll see like for this reason and like whatever, and it fills my heart with joy. I'm just gonna literally go with like Mary Beth smushing Crowley's face like a fucking pumpkin at the end, and then coming back with a shotgun and fucking blowing him in the face anyway,
coup de
even though it's
grace.
already smushed to a fucking pulp like a pumpkin, because that's my favorite. Because again, we know me and being covered in blood and like whatever, and she just keeps fucking going. And then the fact that it pauses like too long for her, and then to come back with the shotgun and probably says "fuck you" like any other ended movie, and shoots him in the face. So I'm gonna go with that one.
Solid.
Probably, like I said before, probably that doctor or that whatever zombie guy went, like when he pulls a spine. That's the only one I was like, okay, because you can see it was practical.
Reverend Zombie.
Reverend
They're
Zombie.
all
right,
everything's practical. in this
Yeah,
movie,
but like that one was actually like an interesting, like watching his head sink in, like that prosthetic was like that. Honestly, that was the only one, and even like that was the one I liked. I was like, yeah, okay, cool.
Well, I mean, I got a tie for mine because I kind of forgot about it until you guys start talking here. I mean, for ridiculousness, the belt sander.
The belt sander's great.
That's because I need to know the grit on that sandpaper, and there's no way he kept that thing centered on that belt. Because if you ever use the belt sander, they're a pain in the ass.
That may be the weirdest thing you've ever said. Like by far the weirdest thing you've ever said.
Dave, you get me right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Greasy weasel. That's
hey. Just if you know, you know. But the other one is where he split the guy's head and then the eyes moved afterwards on the table. That was
the curb stomp on the table. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like that table would have been destroyed. There's no way that would have worked that way. But we'll give it to him.
Jeff, you got one?
I like when he cut the guy's face off in the beginning. Like he just like cut his face. That was the guy who was the lead actor from Frozen. I noticed that. I appreciated that. So he got his little.
I was in that montage of like where it had the other one that
I mean, all the rest of them were kind of like maybe not exactly seen before, but you know what I mean. They still shared like that. I've never seen anybody just cut somebody's face like
like
just
slice
the
it that
face.
way. Yeah.
Because I thought when he turned his head was going to be like in half because that happens all the time.
Dave?
John took mine. It's all about the belt sander because it's so freaking absurd. And to all of you wanting to say that we've seen all this stuff before, you have not seen somebody scalped with a belt sander.
No.
I think you have.
No way.
I want receipts if you have.
Hold on a second.
I've never seen it anywhere else.
But it was so hilarious. As soon as he reveals, and the question asked at the top for the on the fly synopsis of when he reaches back and what is he grabbing, the fact that he pulls an electric belt sander into frame.
Oh no, Dave, it's gas powered. He's got the little gas jug on it. I've never seen a gas powered belt sander before,
which is even better. But all I remember is busting out laughing and about dropping my beer in the floor because it was so freaking funny that of all the things that this mutant on this island has, he has a gas powered belt sander.
I also laughed. I know we said it wasn't funny, and I know it exists. I'm not saying, but I laugh when that fucking chainsaw keeps coming out of the woods.
12-foot chainsaw.
Like it's purposely filmed like that, obviously, but it's like I get that it really exists, and I didn't think it was made up for this because when he finally comes out with you, you're like, oh, it's just a fucking long chainsaw. That must be. But the way they present it with him stepping out with it is just like it's fucking absurd. It's just like this thing is like nonstop, never ending, like whatever. I like when he rips the guy's jaw off too. I know I said that earlier.
Oh, that's a good one.
That's a good one too. Like because like.
That's a good framed one because it looks legit. I mean,
it's a good one, and that was one of the not one of the first because like the site I was reading was in order. Oh, maybe that was one of the because it's early in the movie, but like that was one of the things that said it was cut, and I was like, well, fuck that, like that's ridiculous. If you watch this movie without parts of Although if John saw it in rated R, I think it was shortened or something though.
It might have been. I mean, I looked at the runtime between the unrated and the R. There's literally no difference in the runtime.
Then maybe it could be that like this other R doesn't, because what it said that even when this movie was released digitally and streaming, it was always the unrated. But Redbox had this R version or whatever, and
required it. Yeah,
and I really don't feel like everybody would have taken the R. You know what I'm trying to say? Like, I'm wondering if things that are unrated now just show up as R anyway on streaming services because like they don't really put unrated. Like they got to give it a something for kids and parents and whatever. And I wonder if R is just what they apply to things.
I want to see the parent that's like, oh, this movie's unrated. No worry. This is good for the kids.
Well, honestly,
unrated. Yeah.
Honestly, having watched the unrated version and having watched things like Terrifier, I think it qualifies for an R.
Well, that's why I was like, because the unrated didn't seem that bad. Like I've seen
when you read his thing, So if you, Dave, I don't know if you read the same thing I did, where there was part where he went, I don't want to say he went on a rant, but he went on a lengthy conversation about what he had to do to get this rating and whatever. And part of it was that in this same time frame, and it could have been the same year, he said Piranha was worse than his movie. Something else was worse than his movie, and they all got R ratings and got to be released, widely released.
It was a
he couldn't get this. He could not get this thing out. Like they just kept cutting his movie down.
Probably studio.
So I don't. He definitely mentioned Piranha 3D because I found that hilarious, and then he mentioned something else, and I can't remember.
And the only reason this saw the light of the day, from what I read, is AMC.
Yes, they liked it.
Gave him a distribution. The hilarious thing is they gave this was the only movie after. The only movie prior to this that got an unrated release, if I remember right, and I read it somewhere.
Don't worry, I read the same thing. It's Dawn. It's one of the Living Deads.
It was Dawn of the Living Dead. You're absolutely right.
I read the same thing. It's the only movie that got a wide unrated release or whatever.
Yeah.
Until this.
This one came out on a Friday, was taken out of the theaters on the Monday.
It only got a weekend.
It was so violent. So I get that, and the problem I would see with a wide release of a movie like this is not just that it's ultra violent and extreme, unless you're a horror fan, but it's just not meant for somebody to wander into a movie theater on a Friday night with their date and see this movie cold. Like you have to know kind of horror.
But my thing is to like your point about like the budget and just the way that things were done, it's not even that bad. Like I can't see anybody wandering in this movie and like seeing these the kills are like there's a lot of blood, but like it doesn't look right. Like it's not like it's some kind of ultra realistic
agreed. Which is why I think it's just also why it's absurd that he even got the back to his conversation. Something else like happened here where because. It agreed. I mean, and it's all done in comedy, which does make a difference. It does make a difference sometimes. If it's done in a realistic, vindictive, torture, sexual, any of those kind of things, abusive, it totally colors what.
Yeah, a Serbian film should never have an R rating.
Yeah, right. This is a fucking slapstick, like we've all said, comedy that to even think that they went this hard at this movie is just absurd. It's just absurd because it's fucking goofy. There's nothing about it that's just you're going to be like.
And I'm wondering if that's part of the point. And again, we're just, it's all conjecture at this point.
Adam Green, call us and give us the details of what happened.
You have to imagine that if I was in the MPAA, this movie came in for rating and I watched it, and it's just so dumb. If you're not in the loop of kind of what's going on here, you think this movie's a piece of trash. It's never going to see the light of day anyway. Why are they submitting it for rating?
Yeah, you're like, is this one of those scary movies again? You know what I mean?
So, anyway, any other thoughts on Hatchet 2? I, for one, am glad that I got to check this box finally.
I'm glad that you never watched it and that you had a more positive experience than some other people.
I plan on never watching it again.
That's fine. You've showed me a lot of movies that I don't plan on ever watching again.
I'm glad I didn't accidentally watch it. That's what I'm saying.
Jamie, I think we can clearly say that this falls very well within the same picture and teams, unfortunately, as Cocaine Bear.
Oh, yeah.
God.
It's all about the fun.
Honestly, I would rather watch Cocaine Bear than this.
It's all about fun.
I'm with Eli on this.
And I still wouldn't have fun.
And a reminder that it is Adam Green just throwing up in the opening credits of his movie.
It's disgusting.
Attaboy. So I do have.
Oh wait, and I did go. I didn't just say I did go to Reverend Zombie's shop in real life. I have a picture of it. Sorry, when I went to New Orleans, it had been after I saw at least the first one. What year was this one? 2010.
So it's like open. It's a legit shop there.
It's a real shop, but I don't think it's called Reverend Zombie. It says Voodoo something. And as I'm talking, I will, if I find the picture of my phone, if I remember what year I went, I'll let you guys know. But it is a real voodoo shop in New Orleans, and I was there for a wedding. And since we were fans of these movies, purposely went. I used to have the picture on my phone, but I think when I cleared up a lot of shit on my phone, I deleted like everything, like so many old pictures. So I don't see it because it was just the picture of the sign. So I would search my computer and maybe I could find it real fast. But anyway, I did go, and it is a real shop. It's a real voodoo shop. It's not even like, it doesn't have like the back like it does in the movie. You know what I mean? But it's like that the outside is, the sign is the same.
Do
and
they
it's
serve
like a
Chips
small, Ahoy? No, they don't serve Chips Ahoy, chips and milk. But like it's definitely a voodoo shop, and it's, you know, I probably purposely got one of my voodoo dolls in that shop because it's I had to because of Hatchet. You know what I mean? So
like, why you wanted some of Eli's hair?
What?
Yeah.
Why I've been asking Eli for some,
So which do you think came first, Jamie? I would assume the shop was there first, and he referenced
the shop, but
they used it.
Yeah, I found it. Oh wait, it is guys. Sorry, it is called Reverend Zombies Voodoo Shop Readings and Rituals. I have it.
That's so fun. Yeah, that had to exist before the movies, and he just referenced.
Yeah, I think he just you know, used it for the front probably. I mean, I'm sure the inside is not at all the same. Like I said, if I remember in my brain, it was like just a very small. If you've never been to New Orleans, it's filled with voodoo shops and shops like that and witchcraft, you know, and like, so I think it was just one of the smaller ones, if I remember correctly. But like, I went in and I bought something there because it was referenced Zombies voodoo shop. So I'm sure he saw the sign and then just named Tony Todd after so he could use the whole.
Because it's a great sign.
Yeah. It's exactly the same. It's not. Yeah. So.
Very good. So as I was mentioning, we do have a Dave's Critter Corner this week. There's lots of options, but I had to go for the old gator, obviously, because we haven't talked gators.
Nice.
No, we haven't.
We are in the bayou. Got the American alligator, also known as Alligatoridae mississippiensis.
That was my name in college.
That's what I think is fantastic. It can be found in lowland waters from North Carolina all the way to the Rio Grande in Texas. It's found in freshwater swamps, marshes, lakes, and slow-moving rivers. They live around 50 years and can weigh up to or beyond 1,000 pounds. Big old lizards. They are officially the apex predators of any waterways they're in. Once they reach about 4 feet, they don't have anybody who's feeding on them at that point other than people, obviously, but we've talked about that in the past. Females usually stay within a well-defined smaller area for their hunting ground, while the males roam a much larger, up to a 2 square mile radius for their hunting, except obviously in mating season. They lay around 30 to 50 eggs in each brood, and they can be inter-father broods, meaning that one brood of eggs can have several different fathers within them. American alligators show up in the fossil record around 84 million years ago. Against rumors, they can't survive in salt water. You have mistaken a crocodile for an alligator if it's a saltwater marsh, because they cannot survive in salt water. They have to have freshwater ways. They can actually run faster than humans over short spans. I didn't know that. Like
alligators can run faster than
35 miles an hour.
Yep. Real fast.
Are they the ones just supposed to zigzag? Sorry.
Yeah, I think the Mythbusters busted that.
Yeah.
Like they can just bust a move. Now the good news is if you can run for further than like 50 feet.
Yeah, it's real short.
Oh, okay.
They're like, nah, I don't care that much.
But you better hope that you get a head start.
Exactly.
You're far enough away.
Because they can move. Their eyes glow or reflect at night like a spider's eyes. Like that's how a lot of the gator hunters hunt at night, or that's why they hunt at night, is because they can make their eyes glow. They constantly replace teeth like a shark, and an average alligator will go through about 3,000 teeth in its lifetime, which is a whole bunch. Alligator blood is both antibiotic and antiviral. I didn't know that. Like even if against things like HIV, it's naturally an antibiotic and antiviral, which is unfortunately one of the reasons that the Chinese alligator is critically endangered at this point.
Oh.
So stop using animals for medicine.
Yep.
Find the synthetic version of that, which I think they've been working on. I think they've been working on a synthetic version of alligator blood because of the properties that it has. And that's all the news I have on our alligator. I love me a good gator. I hate seeing them in the wild unless they're far away. But, I do think they are just one of the most metal animals out there. Just
I have a funny story about alligators, or it was a crocodile, and I don't say that because I can't tell
so you already
difference.
messed it up.
Wait, I don't remember what it was. It was in Florida swamp, so whatever. I think those are alligators there.
Yeah.
So I went to like the Everglades or whatever with a friend, and like literally there is an alligator there, and that a guy was just feeding donuts and Doritos to, because apparently it was just like a thing. Like literally the gator was like at the dock, and he was
that was a meth. That was
he
one
was
of the
just
meth gators.
tossing it.
About.
Yeah, they were just tossing it donuts and Doritos, and it was like adorable.
That's for sure a meth
I think
gator.
I'm gonna stand back here
Yeah.
while you toss donuts and
It's
Doritos.
cute
at this.
over there.
Yeah.
That's the kind of the point I was making. Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't mention, but another fun piece of trivia that you'll appreciate, Jamie, is that alligators are the loudest reptile on the planet. Like their growl is as loud as a lawnmower running. And
No, really?
Yeah.
Wow.
You should look up some YouTube videos, because if you look
Of
at
them making noises?
yeah, because they'll stick their head up and all the water around them vibrates when they're roaring. It's
All right, I'm
pretty
gonna
cool.
check that out.
Anyway,
Interesting.
so Eli, what are you following up Hatchet 2 with in the wild, wild world of Campfire Tales?
Well, this is a movie about nothing.
It is about absolutely nothing.
I was
Based on
gonna take
absolutely
Eli's
nothing.
line. That's what he says when it's a movie that he has.
But when I figure we're going to take a little trip down to the swamp, talk about some swamp things.
Okay.
So
Oh, really?
I hope you like swamp stuff.
Some
'Cause
swamp cryptids or
You're-
some swamp monsters or what?
little
You
bit
said
of
swamp
little,
things.
little bit of column A, a little bit of column B.
Okay, so anything that's
Anything that I think is cool
related to a swamp.
in a swamp.
Very good.
So, like, if I'm in a swamp, I could be on that list.
So please just withhold any mud mouth nonsense if you can.
First off, that was one of the greatest things ever made up. How
Not
dare
the
you?
stupidest
How
thing I've
dare
ever
you?
heard.
I rank Mudmouth up there.
I'd rather watch this movie
Calculating.
again than talk about this mud mouth.
I want you to really stop and think about what
Yeah,
you're
that's
saying.
bad. That's-
I would. That was dumb.
You know, you just don't appreciate all the hard work I do.
Well, thank you everybody for listening. Thank you to my host for the night, and I'm looking forward to the rest of the playlist that Jamie's put together. I think the next one is Feast. Is that right?
So Feast, which I won't apologize for this movie. I may apologize for Feast because I've only seen it once, but Eli and I wanted to rewatch it. I'm blaming him also, but no, it was my pick. It was my pick, Eli, but like we both have seen it, can only kind of remember it, but thought we both liked it. So you know what? I said I bumped a movie I love for it.
That was for Eli from Jamie.
It's
Bumped a beloved movie.
Hey, I did that for Jamie's too with my
He
picks.
did. We both bumped. But yeah, so we'll see. We'll see how this one goes, because I have a feeling not a lot of people have seen it. And I've only seen it once, and I think Eli's only seen it once. So for us, it's kind of also like a first, so it could be a good time, guys, or it could just be.
We're gonna have a good time either way.
We're gonna have a good time. Let me tell you, Jeff's gonna hate it.
I don't know. I honestly, if
Think
it's
Jeff might like it?
if it's what I remember it to be,
Isn't it pretty dumb also though?
no, it's actually funny and good. So like, I think Jeff might like it if it's how I remembered it when I first
I know,
watched
we
it
don't
when
know.
it first came
That's
out.
the problem. Eli and I can't remember. We don't know if we're colored.
All I remember was I really enjoyed it, and I loved the soundtrack and music video, which I
it's got
cannot
Henry
remember
Rollins
the song.
in it too. It's got Henry Rollins in it. So
Mhm.
Well,
Uh-huh.
I just looked it up because I haven't seen this one either. Spoilers, but Jeff, if this helps kind of get you excited
Uh-oh.
about this movie, here's the top 6, the biggest 6 characters as listed in the cast for the movie. You've got Heroine, you got
Mhm.
Tuffy,
Yeah.
you got Bozo,
Yep.
you got Beer Guy,
Yeah.
You got yourself Boss Man.
Well, no.
And then you got Drunk Girl.
No, those aren't their real names. Like it's like a comedic thing in the beginning of the movie. Like
That's what they're that's what they're
Spoiler
credited
alert,
as.
Eli.
That's not really a spoiler.
Now that you say that, I totally forgot about that. But you're right. It doesn't.
Yeah. So like it's like I said, I remember enjoying this and laughing at it.
We'll find out. We will find out if it's aged well or not.
I remember like so Jamie, here's how much like I like this one so much, right?
You watched them all like me.
Right. And I hated the third one.
It's terrible.
Was very disappointed the second and then never watched any of them again. So
agreed. Yeah. Yes. Same thing happened to me, Eli. I went on the same rabbit hole. I was like,
How many
this
of these
was so
movies are
good. There's three, I think. I was like, this is so good. And then they got increasingly and way worse. Not just increasingly, guys, like they go off.
Worse.
Yeah, they fall off.
If I remember, I would describe the first one as like a blacker comedy version of Tremors. A little bit.
We'll see. We'll see how it goes. It's going to be fun for everyone.
Well, you have that to look forward to, audience. And now you've got a little inside track to know what to expect. So watch it and bring your opinions when you listen to us talk about it. Thanks for listening tonight. Subscribe, rate the show, give us a review, give us some comments. We've had a lot of good comments coming in. Visit wickedwild.com. I did take the shop down doing some spring cleaning, and I just pulled that down for now. We'll see if it comes back. We just had as when this comes out, we've been to Monster Mania. Next week we'll share some stories from that, maybe from what happened in that. If you want to follow us on social media, you can do that at Slasher, which is the horror only community, at Wicked Wild We Are. You can do it at Elon Musk's little tantrum farm over at what used to be known as Twitter, at Wicked Wild We Are there as well. Instagram, which unless it's down yet again, you can find us on Instagram at Wicked Wild Pod. And then if you want to see our smiling faces or see the rage boil over in each of our faces at some of these movie reviews, you can do that at YouTube, the Wicked Wild Podcast. So you can follow us there. We also have shorts that we throw up there as well. If you have any questions, feedback, insights, or recommendations for me or any member of the crew or the podcast overall, you can send me an email. I read them all. PODCAST podcast at thewickedwild.com. That's all I've got. Anybody else got anything? Anything to promote? Anything going on?
Nada.
Just I hope everybody publicly shames John for that weird thing he said.
What, not
About the belt sander?
Yeah, the weirdest thing I've ever heard in my life.
I find it funny that the guy who
weirdest
talks
thing
about
you've ever heard.
the weird shit you
What
talk
are you?
about every week.
What are you all implying?
that you talked about poop
you talk about-
graffiti.
Weird shit.
I
Every
literally.
week.
Wait, did you say poop graffiti?
Yes,
I don't think I ever discussed poop
Oh
graffiti.
my goodness.
I have receipts, brother.
I
my
think
God.
you used AI to modify the words I'm saying.
See, this is the problem. There is
Big
no
Bang
truth
Kingdom.
anymore. There is no truth anymore.
You're welcome, America.
Jamie, why
Good.
can't Victor Crowley ever be killed?
It's a repeater.
What do you mean though?
Because he's a master of the martial.
Oh my god. Oh my god.
I was like,
Good night, everybody.